And now, a News Channel 5 special presentation.
We opened the door, the whole hillside down there was on fire.
If I'd only had a warning to get the hell out, we would have gone.
We may have reached a new threshold of fire hazard here in the southeast.
14 lives lost, homes and businesses destroyed.
It's over for right now.
Almost as costly as Katrina.
But there is much more left behind than mere ashes. There are questions. Why weren't people warned sooner?
We could have saved something of our lives.
How does this community heal? But there is also spirit, a spirit as old as these mountains themselves.
The community still has hope in this. They're going to rebuild.
This is Fire on the Mountain.
It was the kind of destruction the likes of which this state has never seen. In a matter of hours, 17,000 acres were burning in the Great Smoky Mountains.
That number, though, pales in comparison to the 14 lives taken by the merciless blaze. Here now is Chris Conti.
3 months later, the skeletal remains of homes here provide the haunting realization that some things haven't changed. Entire neighborhoods have disappeared. Entire livelihoods wiped out. This fire burned a deep scar through the heart of Tennessee's most beloved mountain town, and it all started on one of the highest peaks here.
In a way, it's almost like you're in your own little cocoon here.
It rolls in like waves crashing onto the shore.
It's just kind of serene.
A wispy, smoke-like fog. The Smoky Mountains are alive. Life here depends on water. So much rain falls across the nation's most visited national park that it is considered a temperate rainforest. 800 square miles. But this place, enshrined with such profound beauty, has now become home to heartbreak.
We know, we could see that we were in severe drought conditions.
The problem started long before the fire began. It had been 4 months since any considerable rain had fallen across the Smokies. An exceptional drought was starving the forest of moisture.
But I didn't really become concerned until about October.
A lack of rain, though, isn't what truly worried Dr. Henry Gracino Mayer the most.
-4 on the index.
His cause for concern took root decades ago.
This tree began growing about 1820 or so right in here, and then the first fire is about 1832 out in here.
The rings on this yellow pine are like medical records.
And so fires were occurring about one fire every 8 to 10 years.
Each scar is a wildfire that at one time burned in the Smokies.
And there's about 12 or 13 in here.
Notice how they stop.
Wildfires, 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 1934, boom, nothing.
For centuries, wildfires were a part of the natural life cycle of the Smoky Mountains. That all changed, though, in the 1930s when fire suppression techniques became more commonplace. It is now referred to as the Smokey Bear effect.
So fires actually serve a purpose, and they have been serving a purpose in forests and woodlands and grasslands for hundreds of thousands, even longer, years.
As fewer wildfires were allowed to burn in the nation's national parks, fuel continued to build up on the forest floor.
We've got 80 years worth of fuels that have built up that normally would have been consumed by these repeated wildfires.
The Chimney Tops 2 fire had everything it needed to explode when officials say 2 teens flung one match. The date was November 23rd.
I was watching it. It's all over Facebook. People are posting it online. I'm interested in it. I'm going, wow, that's pretty impressive. But then things changed on the 27th.
Firefighters would spend Thanksgiving weekend closely monitoring the rugged terrain. By Saturday, the fire was only 8 acres in size. 3 water-dropping helicopters were brought in on Sunday, along with 5 firefighters. But by Monday, the real story of this disaster became the wind.
You can hear trees falling in the background.
For catastrophic wildfire to occur, not only do you need oxygen, an ignition source, and fuel, but you need wind.
This is really bad.
And that's exactly what happened here.
We are now evacuating.
Topping 100 miles an hour.
Go, 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 go.
Winds pushed the fire in a direct line north.
Hit the gas, hit the gas.
You're talking hurricane force winds here.
Remember, the fire had 80 years worth of fuel to burn.
Go through it. Go through it. I can't. I gotta get out of here.
We're gonna soak this whole foundation right here.
And it quickly gained the upper hand.
This house is saved and the next one's burning. We're gonna save this house by taking this, see that fire right there? It's gonna start traveling in that direction.
Gatlinburg was under siege. Conditions became so dangerous, the only choice was to let homes burn.
Let's just watch it for a minute and see if it comes back.
Firefighters perched high above downtown Gatlinburg were surrounded by smoke from fires they couldn't see.
We gotta really watch ourselves.
In a matter of hours, the fire had swollen from 70 acres to 17,000 acres, escaping the confines of the national park and invading Gatlinburg's city limits.
Not nothing worth anything. Everything gone.
Everything. It stole every piece of this home Daryl Husky built by hand.
Took a lot of time to build this when you build it yourself.
In a hellish nightmare of orange fury, thousands of residents raced for their lives.
If I'd only had a warning.
Jimmy Vance and his wife May knew something was wrong when they saw flames rushing toward their Gatlinburg home.
We got to get the hell out of here. That's what I was thinking. We got to go.
With fire closing in on either side, they made their way down the mountain in a chaotic blur of choking dark smoke.
I couldn't see the road, couldn't see the front of my car.
And that is when this fire took what Jimmy loved most.
I looked over and she'd slumped over. And of course I tried to talk to her and she didn't say nothing.
May Vance would take her last breath in a hospital bed. Doctors would later determine she suffered a heart attack after inhaling smoke.
And me, I was sitting outside, excuse me, holding her hand.
They met in 8th grade, been together for 60 years. May Vance was 75 when she died on November 28th. It was Jimmy Vance's birthday.
Of course I miss her. She was everything. I mean, 60 years.
This is just one family. His is just one broken heart. 14 people couldn't escape the flames. They were blue-collar workers, a minister, retirees, mothers, brothers, sisters, sons, and grandparents.
There is no neighborhood. On my street, on both sides of the street, all the houses are gone.
And it all started here, where the snow-capped white trees serve as a hauntingly stunning contrast to the deathly charred earth below.
We may have reached a new threshold of fire hazard here in the southeast.
Dr. Gracino Mayer knows no one could have predicted the type of destruction caused by the Chimney Tops 2 fire.
1825.
These are forests that we built our cabins, our neighborhoods, our businesses, our resorts in areas that are nothing but fuel.
But as he watches homes be rebuilt with the same non-fire resistant materials,
the roads are too narrow. The homes, the cabins are too close together. I call them fire dominoes.
He can't help but wonder if it's only a matter of time before history repeats itself.
You know, I want these communities to understand what they're living in.
Coming up.
If we would have been told sooner, we could have saved something of our lives.
Do you wish people had been evacuated sooner? And later.
What if we were able to give everyone who lost all their photographs a free framed portrait of themselves?
When Fire on the Mountain continues.
Where were the warnings? 3 months after the state's deadliest wildfire, residents of Gatlinburg who barely escaped with their lives still don't have an answer to that question.
Evacuation orders were sent out long after hundreds of homes and businesses were already burning. Here again is Chris Conti.
How are y'all doing?
Retirement could not have chosen a more inopportune time.
We decided to go ahead and turn it into a pizza shop.
Tim Gay and his partner Donna Patrick thought a pizza shop on Ski Mountain Road
Just go ahead and have a seat.
would be far from the excitement of their old jobs in Florida.
See where that bridge is down there? Yeah. That was all on fire.
No.
Yeah.
But their attention is now divided equally between the fire in their oven
Everybody that comes in here wants to ask about it.
and the fire which nearly destroyed their retirement plan.
Everything's changed.
Everything's changed.
Everything has
and, you know,
changed.
Neighborhoods around them no longer exist.
both sides of the driveway were on fire. Around the house was on fire.
3 months later, though, they are left to wonder why the only evacuation order they ever received was from Mother Nature.
Nothing. Our warning was opening the front door of that cabin and looking across the street at the orange
Our warning
glow.
was the fire trucks.
Well, yes.
The decision to evacuate Gatlinburg came at 9:07 p.m. on Monday, November 28th.
My TV was on. Nothing across it.
1 hour and 7 minutes after the fire destroyed Jimmy Vance's home. 1 hour and 7 minutes after the fire killed Jimmy Vance's wife.
If I'd only had a warning from the authorities to get the hell out, we would have gone.
No text message alerts were ever sent out. Instead, the only evacuation orders went out via televisions and weather radios. And by then, the fire had already been on top of downtown. So what went wrong? The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency manages the system for sending out text message alerts. Because of a gag order issued by the Sevier County DA, they refused our request for an interview. So you were never told to evacuate?
Never.
But months prior to the gag order, TEMA told News Channel 5 that they never used their system to send text alerts because they were unable to get in touch with officials in Sevier County due to phone, internet, and electrical issues.
We didn't think anything about it. We were told everything was fine.
Further complicating the matter, at least one of 3 cell phone towers burned as the wildfire consumed downtown Gatlinburg.
What we're getting into is folks that don't know this area and got Monday morning quarterbacking.
That was Sevier County Mayor Larry Waters in November.
It was moving so fast that they even had to move the Emergency Operations Center.
This is the mayor now. He too is under the DA's gag order, but as a lifelong resident, was willing at least to provide us perspective. Do you wish people had been evacuated sooner?
I'm sure that the folks involved in that decision looked back and said, had I known what I know now, I would probably have done that.
Fire personnel were stretched thin.
We certainly need to see what lessons that we can learn from it. And I think the park's doing an evaluation now.
If we would have been told sooner, we could have saved something of our lives.
Donna and Tim can't change what happened. They just wish they'd had some kind of warning.
I think about what would I have gathered, but it doesn't really matter.
The fire spared Ski Mountain Pizza.
Yeah.
It was not as forgiving, though, just 2 driveways down.
Our house is burnt to the ground and everything in it.
Where their house once stood, Donna and Tim see only a foundation for a new beginning.
That was probably the hardest part of all of this for me, was seeing what my life had resorted to at that moment. It was nothing.
When seconds mattered in Sevier County,
Some people didn't make it because they didn't have time.
it's still hard to tell if each one counted.
Very true. That we got out.
Coming up,
This actually will be almost as costly as Katrina.
and later,
It's kind of surreal still. It's just so beautiful. Like, we're not used to seeing this.
when Fire on the Mountain continues.
If you spend half a day riding around, it's devastating.
The past refuses to let go in the hills high atop East Tennessee.
And all 4 of these buildings, as you'll see as we walk on out, are basically getting torn down.
Breaking free of its grip is a task which rests in the hands of people like Lance Wild.
Definitely overwhelming to look at.
Lance's grandfather started Wild Building Construction in 1984. They have never before taken on a demolition project of this magnitude.
It's hard to look at.
And he hopes that they never have to deal with this kind of destruction again.
And for it to be rebuilt the way it was before, everything's got to go.
His crews are pulling 60-hour weeks. Their job on this day, removing everything but the walls at the Highland Apartments. It is difficult, dangerous work.
Well, if you look at these two, they're basically hanging off the side of a bluff.
Properties here are perched precariously on the edges of cliffs. The closest landfill is an hour away. It is a painstakingly slow task. Peeling back the layers of pain, though, is the only way forward.
The closer it gets back to normal and the quicker, the better everything will be.
It's over for right now. It's totally over.
This is the reality of life in the Smoky Mountains right now.
And sit and enjoy the fireplace.
At one time, Jeannie Johnson and Buddy McLean employed 36 people at the lodge at Blackberry Falls.
We had a business that was built on authenticity of the mountains.
Now they employ just one person.
It was pretty traumatic.
And your mind still is wrapping around the fact that it's not here. We'll say, oh, I'll go get that. And I go, wait, no, it's not here.
So now we got to make the claim for
Replacing what the fire stole starts here with Becky Gleason.
And we are on the phone from the moment we open to the moment, well, actually, we don't leave.
As an insurance agent,
late these days.
She's dealt with disasters before.
Every single desk filled, plus the break room.
But never of this magnitude.
They don't have a mailbox anymore. They might not have a phone. How do you contact them?
Some homes burned so hot that fire-safe boxes incinerated. Among the rubble are deeds, car titles, marriage certificates, and licenses.
This actually will be almost as costly as Katrina.
Insurance claims in Sevier County have crested $1 billion.
The federal government just yesterday approved FEMA working with us on debris removal.
For Sevier County Mayor Larry Waters, this is the second phase of the disaster.
Are you concerned that some people won't come back?
That is a concern.
90 families are still homeless. Affordable housing was an issue long before November 28th, a problem now exacerbated by the flames.
We're going to help our folks in every way we can recover.
Bills have been filed in the state legislature to help refund property taxes to those who no longer have homes.
Everybody came out to see what happened and then they left.
What they need here the most, though, are tourists.
And without the customers, we're not going to make it.
For the businesses still open,
Well, right now it's pretty slow.
revenue has dropped substantially.
Last December, we did 35,000. This December, we did 11.
I think we brought in $36 last month.
This has reinforced how interdependent we are on one another because all these businesses have been hurt.
This place is trying to move beyond the prolific images of destruction and instead remind people that they're still here.
I think what we need is for people to come back.
Come and see us.
The strength of the Smoky Mountains has been tested, but its heart is still beating strong.
And what keeps me going is knowing that we're going to be better on the other side of this thing.
Coming up,
1, 2, 3.
Finding hope
Perfect.
and healing.
We're going to rebuild. We're going to start with us.
And Fire on the Mountain continues. In the months since the fires, they've adopted a mantra here, a saying of sorts that is defining how they'll move forward, mountain strong, and encompasses the hope and belief that better days are still to come. Here now is News Channel 5's Jason Lamb.
In the serenity of the Smoky Mountains, take a close look and you'll spot the signs.
You can see green coming back.
Signs that this community is slowly getting back what the ravaging fires took away. Naturally, that means the return of hikers like Molly Bate and her friends.
It's hard to believe that anything like that happened up here. It was so violent.
Molly and her friends say they're back at Newfound Gap to celebrate what's always made this place so special.
It's beautiful. It's just so quiet.
But they aren't the only ones who've made a special hike up here. Newlyweds Robert and Julie Rodriguez had to stop for a photo shoot.
Yeah, we're in love and she wants to show off her gown as much as she can.
The two came up here for their honeymoon, but this, they said, was just too good not to capture.
I've never seen mountains like this. This is beautiful. It's breathtaking. Just reminds me of my dress.
Beautiful, Robert says. like his bride.
The wedding day, she was drop dead gorgeous, man, bombshell.
Like everyone else here, they know the damage the fires left behind. But Robert says, consider what's here now.
You still could get something positive to come out of this. You know, you get to see a lovely couple, a married couple, still enjoying themselves, enjoying the views, enjoying the mountains.
And while this couple is busy capturing new photos fit to be framed.
There you go, baby.
1, 2, 3. That's really great.
Others across town are working to help those who lost theirs.
Perfect.
We are making photos for fire victims.
Right. Wow, that looks awesome.
I hope that people feel loved and I hope people feel cared for.
I'm thinking that one's probably the best.
Printing and framing portraits for the families on site. Julia Husky and Thomas Gentry are helping families smile again.
You have to smile in all the pictures.
We have no more pictures of us, and so we thought, what a good way to start again, you know?
Do more.
It's a start that, for many of these families, is inspiring them to dream like they've never dreamed before.
We're going to rebuild. We're going to start with us. We're going to start with us, and we'll build from there.
A dream that has spread all over this strengthening town. No doubt, the signs of recovery are easy to spot here.
Smoky Mountain strong, though. We saw the signs. We're proud of that.
But there's also a man and his bride.
I guess you want to go to the next spot.
3 hiking buddies.
We know that it's going to be okay.
And dozens of recaptured smiles.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful.
All signs that Gatlinburg's once destroyed normalcy
What does a beautiful woman like that do with an ugly old man?
is returning, tougher than ever.
We'll just rebuild back, better than it was. That's all we can do.
To help deal with the emotional and monetary cost of this disaster, officials in Sevier County have set up a designated team of people. Their sole task is getting residents the resources they need.
And if you would like to volunteer time or money to victims of the fire, a variety of resources can be found by visiting mountaintough.org. Thank you for watching this News Channel 5 special report, Fire on the Mountain.